This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 982, and it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando because I missed my flight to Kenya. It's Cameron Strang, and joining me.
Oh, dang! Yep. Are you serious? You missed 100%. It, or did it get canceled?
Oh
Doesn't
no,
matter.
I missed it. Joining me from Loverland, Virginia, Jesse Carey.
Hello.
From Nashville, Tennessee, artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
What up?
And joining us, because she's back from Italy, author.
I want to be an artist, yes.
Author, podcaster, mogul in her own right, Jamie Ivey. Welcome back, Jamie.
Hey, guys, I'm so happy to be back.
Jamie, it feels like a lifetime since we've done one of these with the four of us, and yes. you've been globetrotting for the last several weeks. Can you bring us up to speed on the Ivey family travels and what's been going on?
Listen, all six of us left we landed in Italy on June 1st, and we landed back in America midnight, almost July 1st. So we were literally gone for an entire month, going all around Italy. We stayed in 4 different Airbnbs. We ate more pasta than any human should, drank wine every single day, cheese, bread, all the things. The beaches are amazing. It's hot as Hades in Rome. And it was so much fun. I'm telling you, big kids are a dream because I didn't carry anyone's suitcase. Aaron and I went to bed before everybody else. I mean, it was a dream trip. It was so fun. And then every once in a while we'd get on the news and see that America was imploding. So we were like, can we just stay in Italy forever?
You just connected the dots for me.
What?
You leave, America implodes.
I know.
I'm leaving. Well, I don't want to stay. I want to leave again.
Well, then no.
You got to think of the greater
good. The grace of God is with you. The grace of God is with you. You can't just be flying out of here.
I haven't been on social media. I feel like there's been a couple of things happening on social media. I haven't been there since the end of May. And
nobody's arguing or anything.
No, that's what I've heard. I've heard everyone's just being Christ-like with their love and their opinions. Yeah. But it was so great.
Jamie, I consider myself an expert on Italian culture and contemporary cuisine, mainly because
Little Caesars.
Mainly because of you may have heard of one of the experts, Papa Jan, I believe he's pronounced, Papa Jan in Italian culture. No, but I do watch a lot of I love Chef's Table. I love Somebody Feed Phil and David Chang and all these food and travel shows. And each one, it's impossible for a Netflix show to do one of those without 3 episodes that are in beautiful parts of Italy where delightful people who've worked on the same dairy farm for 15 generations, knock on a wheel of Parmesan cheese with a little tiny hammer to see if it's ready for consumption.
Yep.
And you see little tiny food creations created with butane lighters and the purest grapes on earth for some sort of weird little edible visual creation. So I feel like I'm an expert, as you can tell from my descriptions.
Yes.
Here. Did you go to one of these incredible, weird Italian high concept Michelin star restaurants?
Okay, I will tell you this is a family of 6 traveling for a month is very, very expensive. And so we did our fair share of eating at home. Y'all know my husband loves to cook. And so we would get into a town. We were in one town for 14 days. So we'd hit the grocery store. We live life there. Aaron and I had our 21st anniversary while we were there. And we went to a Michelin star restaurant that we had been at previously before when we were in Italy in 2019. It is so, so good. And so we did experience that, but we also experienced a lot of small town. I mean, we were just driving through lots of different towns, small towns. And the joy of being in Italy for 30 days is we went to 4 different regions. All the food is so different in every different place. It's so different. And so that was really exciting for our kids, but we did have some amazing, amazing, amazing food.
What was the best thing you ate and why was it just takeout pizza? Go.
Well,
why was it Pizza Hut?
A couple of things. Number one is there's this restaurant in Rome called D'Anzo. We've been there before. We waited in line for an hour and a half, you guys. Would you do that for a restaurant? Yes, you would if it was this restaurant.
Oh, sure.
Of course.
And it was amazing. But then another one of my favorite things, I told y'all Aaron cooked a lot. We would find little old Italian women who are hand making pasta. Like they made it that morning, you buy it at 2, you eat it at 5. Those are some of our favorite meals that Aaron would make because the little Miss Sweet Mama Maria made it that morning and it was so very good. So we experienced a lot of great things.
So you're basically describing Olive Garden.
I've been to D'Anzo.
Isn't it so good? It's our favorite meal of the entire trip.
You said it, and I was like, I feel like I've been there, and I looked it up. I have been there. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's really so good.
Jamie, real talk. Just let's be real, okay? Because some of these foods are an acquired taste. All right. And I'm sure they're delightful to eat fresh from the countryside that, an Italian grandmother, lovingly crafted that morning. But I've also mowed down some breadsticks at Olive Garden. I've had the tour of Italy there. I've eaten numerous things on their menu. And despite their, lack of access to fresh Italian ingredients, they have food labs and they invest a lot of money on to make this Italian pretty good. Just forget there are lots of people listening. It's just you and I here, Jamie.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
If you had a fresh Italian meal and like something really good off the Olive Garden menu, be real. Is there any comparison? Just be real, because I will take someone to Olive Garden who's not a believer and like, real talk, this is pretty good. Like, this is not a bad one.
Jesse, there is no way that Olive Garden even remotely compares to the worst pasta I ate in Italy. Of course,
I'm not saying quality of pasta. I'm saying quality of meal. Okay.
To the listener who is now worried about Jesse, he's sitting back from the mic smiling because he's messing with y'all.
No, I'm taking vigorous notes because
listen, Olive Garden is good for one thing. It is good for college kids because you go and you get those breadsticks with a side of Alfredo and some salad, and it's your whole meal. That's what I lived on in college. But yeah.
I was a Bennigan's person in college. Bennigan's.
I was an IHOP person.
I saw a mother changing a child's diaper on a table in Bennigan's, and that was the last time I went there. They didn't, the diaper changing rules were not enforced like I would, like them to be at a chain restaurant. So Bennigan's is off. I've never seen those shenanigans at an Olive Garden.
You know what, guys? I did think when I was flying home, it's like a forever flight home. I thought that I wanted to ask you guys this question. Cameron, you just said you missed your flight to Kenya. We've all traveled internationally. When you were on an international flight, again, you're on it for 7, 9, 10 hours, forever. You get comfortable.
14 is my flight to Kenya.
Okay, 14. Do you go to the restroom in just your socks?
Oh,
okay. I will be honest
socks on an airplane.
I will be honest about this.
Please
I used to be that person. Okay. Used to, until I read an article on Twitter about airline attendants' least favorite customer habits, blah blah blah, and like and tips of like, don't drink the ice because they never clean the water filter and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, only have bottled drinks on a plane, that kind of stuff. And they said like the number one hygiene issue is people who, because your feet swell on a long flight, so people take their shoes off to let their feet breathe, but the thing that disgusts them the most, and then they talked about like what they've seen in the bathroom, and people are then putting that on their socks. After I read that, I've never once done it again. I'm reformed. I will slide my shoes back on to go up to the restroom.
Okay, I just thought I saw that happen. I sat right next to the bathroom on the way home, and I wanted to tell everyone, you're stepping in. Like, that's all you're doing right now is you're stepping in, and then you're getting all over this plane. So I was grossed out, but I was wondering about you guys.
So I'm glad to be here with you guys. I didn't plan to be here with you guys. My life has been okay. Here's a little tip. I was very, very tired.
Oh, you literally missed your flight. You did, not the airlines.
Oh no, it was me. First time in my life. I had to fly from Orlando to New York to Nairobi, and my flight. I had to leave the house at 5:30 in the morning. Single dad, I'm, staying up late, taking care of house stuff. And then I'm finally packing. I'm packing until about 4 a.m. I have an hour before I need to get up and shower.
Please tell me you did not go to sleep in that hour. I
set my alarm. I left all my lights on, turned the TV on so I wouldn't fall into a deep sleep, set my alarm on my phone, put my phone on my chest, and then opened my eyes at 7:30 in the morning, 20 minutes before my flight was leaving. So it's like, I panicked. So here's what I learned the hard way. It's not like rebooking a domestic flight. I'll just catch the next flight to New York. No, Air Kenya has one flight from New York to Nairobi a day. And if you're going to Kenya for 3 days and you don't have a lot of options, I am actually, after a whole lot of hours on hold, I am going next week. I leave. Because it was the other weird thing, Jamie, is that I had pre-planned. Jesse and I are going to NBA Summer League in Las Vegas when the Kenya opportunity came up, because it's this crisis happening. It was a last-minute trip. Mm-hmm. So we attached it to my existing trip. So I was flying to Kenya and from Kenya to Las Vegas, which is just not smart. Whiplash emotionally. And so now we had to flip it that I'm going to Vegas first and flying from Vegas to Nairobi. I am telling you, I have been on the phone for probably 15 hours in the last 3 days trying to make all these arrangements happen, including up until about 5 minutes ago. I was still on the phone with American Airlines because of Jesse's travel having to change because my travel changed. So we're good. We're going. We are going to go watch some number one pick action. Then I'm going to go see a humanitarian crisis. So there you go.
So let's talk about accountability.
Hey, here's the worst of it. The Magic play, our first game is Thursday night. Right. That's why we're going, is to see the Magic play Thursday night. Jesse can't come until Friday. So I'm flying in by myself, spending Thursday in Vegas by myself. So good, upstanding Christian young man, like going to do the right thing. I'm going to go to the game. I'm going to my room and Jesse will be there when I wake up. So
I'm fully expecting.
No, we're going to pray together. We're going to pray together while you're out there.
I'm going to the game and I'm going to my room.
FaceTime.
I'm fully anticipating showing up to the room and Cameron's things are just thrown everywhere and he's missing and we find ourselves plunged into a 2-man hangover situation.
Jesse, go up to the roof. Go to the roof first. If I'm anywhere, I'm on the roof. Yeah. So that's going to be weird. But we're doing a couple days of basketball. That'll be a lot of fun. And then I'm heading to Kenya after that. And then so I won't be with you guys next week.
I'm hoping just unsolicited. This is my year where they just call me in and be like, "You want to open audition right now for the summer league team?" Okay, we're man down. This guy looks like he's geared up, ready to go. I'm wearing nothing but athletic clothes and hoping that this is the big break.
I'm going to bring my coach's clipboard and just sidle up. I'm just going to
this is the opportunity.
It's not the normal coaching staff. It's like the B League.
They play pretty fast and loose.
Just do like fake Clay and just walk out on the court. Just dress up as like somebody 100%. And walk out on the court.
Just act like you've been there. I mean, that's what you got to do in life. Act like you belong.
Act like you've been there.
It's all general admission, so it's not like they're like ushers checking your tickets. So I can just like wander down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I fully expect to get arrested while Jesse's not with me. So I'll text you if that happens, Jesse.
First stop's the roof. Second stop is the tiger cage at the zoo. Third stop is the Las Vegas County Jail. And we'll find him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you'll find me. We have a great show in store for you today. Coming up later, actor John Cho joins us. You may know him from like movies like Star Trek and Columbus and a bunch of others. He has a new film out that we talked to him about, and also the writer of the film, it's called Don't Make Me Go, joins us as well. That's coming up later. We also have your feedback, but stay tuned right now. Coming up next, Tyler joins us for Relevant Buzz.
Red lipstick painted on, lighting up another sundown cigarette. The camera's ready, curtain strong. The lights are on, the stage is set. Blinding diamonds can't keep shining on your stolen crown. Sooner or later, we all know that plastic castles all fall down. I saw you faking a smile, taking after me down, loving yourself and there's no one around. Are you the talk of the town now? Are you the talk of the town now? And when you're sitting alone, take a look at you now. You see your reflection, is it making you proud? Are you the talk of the town now? Are you the talk of the town now? Are you the talk of the town?
You're listening to Need to Breathe. The song is Talk of the Town. Well, today's show is brought to you by He Gets Us, a national campaign bringing the story of Jesus to every neighborhood. Jesus can feel distant and far off for many who are skeptical of the Christian faith. They may think, well, Jesus lived in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. How could he possibly understand my struggles? But the Bible gives us so many examples of Jesus facing much of what we're experiencing today. He dealt with anxiety, divisive politics, loneliness, and a lot more. He Gets Us is helping those who are skeptical relate to Jesus by telling his story on national media through the lens of 2022. Within just a few months, the campaign has reached more than 150 million people just through social media and broadcast networks. To learn more about He Gets Us, visit hegetsuspartners.com. There's resources and studies, and you can learn more about the team behind it. Or if you actually haven't seen the He Gets Us commercials, go check out hegetsus.com. If you want to find out more and get more resources, go to hegetsuspartners.com. Okay, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
Please welcome to the show, live from Paris, France, where he just saw Harry Styles last night.
Yeah.
Tyler Huckabee. Hey, Tyler.
Bonjour.
Hey,
Bonjour,
Tyler.
everybody. Hey. Look at the whole
man.
crew. Oh, it feels good.
Crew's back.
I'm in Paris, but I feel like I'm back home in somewhat right now, just being right here, right now with y'all.
Bro, where are you at right now? It look like your house is upside down, bro. I ain't gonna even lie.
I was going to say, it looks like, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to paint a picture real quick because I feel like Tyler is broadcasting right now from
the hull of a ship.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, like, what I picture the podcast studio in heaven from the Bruce Almighty movies looks like. He's wearing a white
got a white
shirt.
t-shirt.
There's his hair is sort of gently blowing in the breeze as sunlight goes through like a window. Everything
he's
is all
backlit
white
by a
and
window,
clean.
so he's got this halo around his head.
I fully expect that Morgan Freeman is in the background in a white suit engineering your audio right now, Tyler.
Yeah. I should have clarified. When I said Paris, what I meant is I suffered an unfortunate and untimely accident. I was accepted into heaven. Thank goodness. But I'm also very devoted to this job and to this team. And I didn't want to leave anybody. So I'm bringing you the buzz from the great beyond this week.
I'm excited to come to you on your local NPR station from the latest podcast from heaven. Each week, we'll be talking about the afterlife, harps, angels, wings, pearly gates, who knows what else. Tune in and be sure to leave us a rating and review. And it better be a good one for your soul's sake.
I just sent a screenshot to the chat. Somebody got to post this on Twitter at some point. Like, this has to go up. Like, my man's is literally on a Zoom call from heaven. Like, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, we probably
And then, like,
what's there
he's
from the
telling us
relevant.
that everything is good up here. Hey, guys, you're going to love it up here, man. Like,
Next week, I'll be broadcasting from the Las Vegas jail. So,
Oh my
we'll
God.
have.
They're launching a new pod
Maybe
too.
Tyler can put a good word in for
Listen,
you.
hey, real talk. I would listen to a podcast that's recorded in Las Vegas jail. It's just a podcast of, all right, what'd you do? What'd you do? Why are you here? It's like, everyone would listen to that. It's a great idea, Cameron.
That's a good idea.
It's 2 hours of people just going, I didn't do nothing, man. I didn't do nothing.
Well, it started off when my buddy's flight got delayed and I had a night all to myself.
All right, so what's going on this week, Tyler? I know you saw Harry Styles last night, so is that going to be the bulk of your update?
No, that you got to be there. You got to see that. I did get to see Harry Styles here. It's Liz's birthday week, so that was part of her birthday present, was taking her down to see Harry Styles. But that's not on the buzz. If you want to know about that, then her Instagram stories are full of it. You can find her there. But I did want to talk about a different celebrity, and you guys may have seen. I don't know if this news traveled on vacation or how far this went. It happened about a week ago. But it really blew it. This was an interesting piece of news because it's one of those things that I feel it was proof. It showed why you need some religion reporters on your pop culture beat and why you might end up being a little lost if you don't have somebody who at least has a little bit of religious knowledge or some familiarity with the landscape. And it was a piece of news about Chris Pratt. Did you guys see this? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
About our man Chris
no,
Pratt.
I didn't. I missed it because the whole world was on fire.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. This wasn't the headline of the New York Times, but it was an interesting story.
But
so
it made
Chris
the news
Pratt,
up in heaven. So
it made the news here.
yes.
Yeah, we're
was
pretty.
front page.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but in heaven, we're pretty on the Chris Pratt beat up here. We keep tabs on our guy.
Yeah. Front page of of the lifestyle section of the Heaven Daily Gazette.
The Heaven Daily, yeah. We get so Chris Pratt was on the cover of Men's Health. And he went into a pretty lengthy and I would say very interesting conversation about his faith and about some of the sort of like semi controversies that he kind of gets. Like he ends up being kind of a punching bag on social media a lot of times for various reasons, some of which seem valid, some of which don't seem super valid to me. And he dissected it with, I thought, a good deal of humility and thoughtfulness, and I thought he handled himself very well. But one quote that he gave made a lot of rounds. And I'll read you the quote right now, and I want to see if you guys can maybe figure out why people found this quote so confusing. He said, quote, "I am not a very religious person. Religion has been very oppressive for a long time. I didn't know that I would kind of become the face of religion when I started talking about this because I'm not religious at all." So this was obviously the headline. Like this was what people ran with, is Chris Pratt, after years of talking a lot about his faith and about being a Christian and sharing Bible verses and talking about his faith with his wife, is now saying that he's not religious. And this was treated as sort of like a deconversion thing by a lot of outlets. But I'm wondering if you guys could maybe, given your familiarity with the world that he comes from, maybe have a little more of an idea of what he's actually saying here.
Right. Unfazed by it. He's saying, right. I have a relationship with Jesus and a genuine faith. Don't lump me in with like religious judgmentalism. That's not me. I'm not those people. But yeah, it doesn't mean he deconverted.
Yeah. No. Especially in the context he's saying it. It's the context of which I feel like it's presented repeatedly in the Gospels, which is, sort of vilification of legalism and religiosity. Am I pronouncing that right? Where Jesus would basically tell, Pharisees and Sadducees and religious leaders, hey, your over focus on religion and rules is oppressive to people. I mean, I feel like for people who grew up in contemporary evangelicalism, it was pretty common for them to say, this is a relationship, not a religion. That was just part of the sort of vernacular. So I don't think it's as controversial as people are making it.
But if you're not inside the bubble like us, to hear I'm not religious, they go, oh, he's not a Christian, So
it's the sort of thing you could say at like church or Chad Veach, his pastor, I'm sure has talked about this with him quite a bit, I would imagine. And it makes a lot of sense. But either he didn't go into further context in this interview, or those quotes just didn't make the final cut, which is definitely possible as well. So it was interesting, and it is a good reminder for all those other outlets out there. You got to make sure you have a few people with a little bit of religion know-how on your radar before you.
Let's be honest, though. All right, let's look at this headline. Chris Pratt says, "Hey, he's still a Christian, but he's not oppressive." Or Chris Pratt says he's not a Christian anymore. Which one's gonna get us more clicks?
Right.
We gotta be honest. Even if they knew, we know the headline we rolling with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we know that's what's gonna happen. So
he doesn't want to bury it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think Chris Pratt's a pretty decent guy. Is going to be a good headline for a lot of people.
Chris Pratt, more or less the same person as you thought he was before this interview. Anyway, maybe that's not much. Yeah, that doesn't sell a lot of favors.
Are probably right. Yeah. Chris
Pratt, the same as before. Yeah.
Slightly more famous, but pretty much the same otherwise. Yeah.
Especially considering how hard of a spin, because he's been getting smashed for like the past 2 years for his. Even when he says something like nice, he's like, man, Jesus loves you. Well, look at him trying to force Jesus on Star-Lord. And you know what I mean? It's like crazy stuff. So it's like now then to come out with something like this, it would feel like a bombshell. It's like, nah, man, there's no way. Even, bro, it could have been whoever broke that story could have had a writer's room full of priests, nuns, and Southern Baptist preachers and a monk. And the headline we got today was still going to come out.
It's like
that's how the media works.
And Cameron, I think we said it's like when you watch like a mainstream comedy and there's a scene set in a church. They basically just take an amalgamation of every like stereo, like there's like a random nun working there, but there's like a contemporary like praise band. The pastor's wearing some sort of odd robe with symbols, and it's like there's ornamental Bibles everywhere. You're like, I'm not sure what kind of Christianity this is, but I get this is just the pre-concept of what of what we kind of stereotypically say. Yeah, it doesn't always get the most nuanced representation in pop culture.
And I think aren't we all like trying to separate ourselves from like oppressive, like quote unquote religion that keeps popping up everywhere, and we're trying to be like, no, wait, like we follow Jesus, he's not oppressive. Like we are Christ followers, we're Christians, we're not like oppressive. This kind of religion stuff, and I feel like that could be taken out. He's Chris Pratt. Like any of us say that, we're like, oh yeah, that's cool. But like people would take that and run with it, and it would be completely messed up.
I feel bad for him because the dude's just trying to like go to church and live his life and do what he does.
Make
and he's got a
TV
genuine
shows.
faith, and he's just like, he's doing his job and like just goes to church like any of us do. And then he gets lumped in with every church scandal, like literally every time.
Why is that for him?
Facts.
Because he's the only famous church-going person that Hollywood knows. And so they're like, well, if this megachurch pastor is corrupt, what does Chris Pratt have to say about that? And it's just like, wait, what? And he's just like, I don't know that guy. So, like
he got lumped in with Hillsong.
Hillsong,
a lot of their scandal. Despite he did not go to Hillsong, never attended Hillsong, and somehow got caught in some of the crossfire of what went down there.
Because he fits the description. He's
Well,
the
and he goes to-
30-some-year-old white man. You know
and he
what I'm
goes to
saying?
Zoe Church. He goes to Chad Veach's church, and obviously Chad and like Carl Lentz and we're all very intertwined in a certain era, and so Chris knows those guys and stuff. But he didn't go to Hillsong. And you know what's crazy is like I was on TikTok or something a month ago, and there was some podcast that posted a clip about like religious corruption and conspiracies, and they were talking about Chris Pratt, and they literally, this is how far the internet takes it, and this is why I feel so bad for him. They literally said that Hillsong is a cult and that Chris Pratt was in the cult, and that the cult leaders of Hillsong appointed or arranged marriages, and that originally, this is what the podcast said, originally Chris Pratt was going to be paired with Hailey Bieber, but the cult leaders at Hillsong wanted him to be paired with the Shriver because they want him to go into politics after he's done acting. And so the cult leader is like arranging these marriages and stuff, and they sat there and like talked themselves into it, and
People will believe that.
and people will believe it.
People will believe it.
It was famous enough that it came across my feed, right? I mean, it's like, this is getting traction. And I was just like, that's crazy.
I know some bad stuff.
Bro. Ain't no way, bro.
First off, I'm glad my new podcast is doing well and it's getting out there. So thanks for all the ratings and reviews. The algorithm is clearly working. But no, it's funny. It's like, it went from a leap to a guy who is excited to share kind of the joy of his authentic faith to basically he's the Tom Cruise of some weird Hollywood cult.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like as to like Scientology. But yeah, that just kind of, the other thing that's not working in his favor, he has an incredibly competitive first name in Hollywood right now. And listen, the edit, Tyler, you know this as well as I do. In the current era of entertainment journalism, the listicle has an overbearing influence on easy content that will get clicks. And if you have a bunch of people with the same name, you're going to feel compelled to rank them. And ranking of the Chris's has not done him any favors too. If his name was like Stefan or something that wasn't
Stefan
competitive
Pratt.
with other, let's face it, white male actors who stay in really good shape and do action movies and superhero movies, I don't feel like he would have the same comparisons that he's dealing with now.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's probably true.
All right. What else is going on, Tyler?
Yeah, so unrelated to this, I wanted to see if you guys had any. I had a theory, and you guys confirmed it about that last one. This one I'm curious a little bit about because I'm not quite sure what to attribute this to. But there's a really interesting new study from Gallup. They've been asking this question every year for the last 30 years about Americans' confidence in U.S. institutions. Institutions being things like the military, the police, banks, Supreme Court, the presidency, newspapers, things like that. So you might not be surprised to hear that in 2022, our trust in almost all of these things are at record lows. They have been declining a little bit year over year for the last 30 years, and they have continued their long and sharp decline down. 11 of the 16 institutions tested saw a sharp decline, meaning 10 points or more over the last year. The average confidence across all institutions was at a low of 27%. This low includes the church and organized religion in general. Only 31% of Americans, according to Gallup, say they have confidence in that. That's down from 37% in the previous year. 31% is pretty low, but that's actually one of the higher ones ranked here. Actually, that's still in the top 5. At the very bottom of the list, Congress, only 7% of Americans say they have any trust in Congress. That's down from 12%. Number 2 is TV news at the bottom there. That's at 11%. And then big business at 14%. All 3 federal branches of the government recorded their lowest confidence ever recorded in the last 30 years since this started being asked. The only institution, and I think they stretch the word institution here a little further than is necessary, maybe, the only institution in which a plurality of Americans still say they have confidence is small business. 70% or 68% rather of Americans say they have confidence in small business. That's down from 70%, not a sharp decline, a small decline from the previous year. What do you are there any theories like what is happening to our faith, or has been happening at least the entirety of my lifetime, to our confidence in all these various institutions in the US?
Truth.
Yeah, I'm going to go along that line, but social media, access to information,
because we can see everything.
Live, everything unfiltered, and all the opinions and all the tribalism that's happening. And I think it's social media. That's the major shift in the last 12 years.
And I think it's just sort of we've kind of been broadly, some of it right, some of it I think maybe in some cases maybe somewhat misguided, but I think we've been increasingly conditioned to be skeptical of institutions. And I think also it's easier sometimes to blame like big bureaucratic organizations and structures that are difficult to really understand than it is to just blame human nature. Like, so if you looked at, an issue, look at any major social issue, I think there's a propensity, and I know I'm certainly guilty of this. So you look at something like climate change, instead of blaming, it's easier to blame like, well, I don't trust like big oil, or I don't trust, this institution or the government or lawmakers, than it is to say, look, maybe I'm part of the problem here. Maybe this is an all of us problem. It's easier to point at a large institution that is hard to kind of pin down than it is sometimes to be self-reflective about our own roles in just how, because like Cameron, you gave the example of social media. Some people would say social media, these companies are large institutions. That's true. Like the engineers are, the people who build it, but social media is just people. It's just the voices of people. And so sometimes I think it's easy to like point the blame at large institutions instead of sort of turning the focus inward all the time.
But what I meant by social media isn't the people saying their opinions about stuff. It's the access to the information.
Yeah.
Because like, think about this, like up until this era, we didn't know anything about the private lives of our heroes and our leaders and so you can hold up the president or this, movement leader you put him on a pedestal. You don't know how that person's living their life for real. Now we do, now we know all their flaws, all their lies, all their corruption, and we see it in real time. And so we're disillusioned. Whereas like ignorance was bliss up until the last 20 years. I mean, like I feel like, I think about just even the stories about like old timey Babe Ruth. He was like this national hero, but the dude's just like a womanizer and a drinking all the time. Like that wasn't known. He was just a hero on the baseball field, right? Now everything is human and broken, and we're aware of it all. And to me, that just takes the shine off of stuff, Same
thing with Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan growing up was like, yo, he's the most, in your mind, you're like, he's the most virtuous dude or whatever. And then it's like, nah, he's beating up his teammates. He's like a gambler, drunk. And it's like, you're like, yo, this dude, I don't know if he's a good guy. He's good at basketball, but I don't know if he's a good guy. Yeah, nah, I feel it's a combination. Like when I said truth, it's not, I didn't even mean it as like, I mean it as just like we're seeing, like what Cameron said, the unfiltered humanity. Like we're seeing unfiltered humanity, and you're seeing in real time how, the money can literally change a whole situation. Like you're seeing like, okay, wow, I think New York, Eric Adams just cut $200 million from the school budget. You know what I mean? From the budget for schools. So our programs are in trouble right now. And it's like, you're seeing that in real time. And you're like, wait a minute, we have all this money. Why in the world are we cutting? If we could cut money from anything and defund anything, why would we defund schools? And you're seeing all of this in real time, and not just your local, but you're seeing everybody's local government messes. I know more about Florida than I would want to know in a lifetime. Like I don't want to know half of the stuff that I know about Florida, but it's just like in real time, boom, boom. Anything that happens, it's just all in our face.
I think that is so true because everything is so like it's instant. And so whereas, before we had, a news conference that was blasted out live on Twitter, we had to wait till 5 o'clock news or 6 o'clock news. I mean, you take, for example, what happened here in my state in Uvalde a couple of weeks ago or whenever that was. And everything that was said in the first 6 hours was false. And so then they're like backtracking, trying to say the right thing. And so then when something else happens in Highland Park, you're going, wait, are they telling us the truth about what really happened? Because I remember 6 weeks ago when they lied to us about what happened in Uvalde. So are they trying to cover their tracks here too?
So
I think that's hard. So then I'm like, do I trust that news conference about what happened here? Because I don't know. I thought I trusted. Well, I don't know if I trust Governor Abbott before then or not, but he says this and then it comes out to be false. I think that is true. That's something too.
I feel like our leaders have always been like this. I feel like our institutions have always been like this. We just now know way too much, and I don't know that humans even were meant. Think about like back in the day, like you knew your village and your family. You were unaware of what was going on in the globe. But I think, I mean, you had emperors and conquerors and colonialism. You had terrible, terrible things happening, and we just didn't know about it. Or we knew one line in a monthly update, and so now we're more aware of it every day, all day. It's stressing us out. It's just, and again, the disillusionment that's set in is valid. I just don't think it's new.
And I would also add this is that not only do we see the humanity of just the people that are running, governments and all of those different things, but what we don't see is the actual complexity of the job.
Yeah.
Like that's another thing we don't see. So like me being in DC talking to these senators when we went for ownership as a new black, like wondering like, in our mind, we're like, why don't y'all just vote to pass the things that need to be passed? But then we don't understand the nuances of what goes into that business no more than anyone understands the nuances of putting a podcast out, marketing it correctly, putting a book out, marketing it correctly. But because we have all of this information, we think we know how to be the best governor for our state. We think we know how to be the best senator or the best Fed chairman and all of those different things. So that adds even more cynicism because of the information, not actually knowing the nuances of the actual jobs that we're often judging.
And I think it's easy to forget too, like, a big portion of the New Testament is essentially a form of social media where one person is writing letters unpacking the problems with institutions, right? I mean, that's what Paul's letters to those churches are. Hey, how's everyone doing? Here's all the things y'all need to straighten up because your institution is broken. Like, I feel like there's something in us that seeks media that will help, kind of hold institutions accountable. But to your point, Cameron and Derek, like the volume of it really, allows us to kind of skip over just the complexities of trying to correct some of this stuff.
You know what I'm disillusioned with is that my favorite actor, Chris Pratt, is part of a cult. He doesn't even love his wife. It's an arranged marriage for political.
He wants Haley.
Yeah. And
relax.
I have some very interesting guests on the upcoming pod that will wildly speculate as if they know something.
Alex Jones one of them?
Can I say one more thing about that, Tyler, that I just thought about? Is I think not to get too like Christianese here, but I think this is really like good for us as followers of Jesus to remind ourselves like all of these institutions literally are just sinking sand. Like we can never find all of our hope in them. And as much as like, I want to feel confident in my representatives and my governor and all the things, at the end of the day, like they're not. It's a game. Like the politics is a game. It is all a game, and it's all frustrating. And being in Italy and looking at the media and the news that was happening here in America, it's sickening. Like it's just gross and disgusting. And no wonder people don't trust these institutions. Who should? Like that's also the question of like, okay, why? I don't understand. I have no trust either.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely right. All right. Well, there's a lot more where that came from. We're covering stuff all day, every day. There's a lot happening right now. Make sure to check relevantmagazine.com as part of your daily web browsing and follow us on all the socials for the latest. Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks, everybody. Good to see you all again.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Au revoir.
All right. Stay tuned. Up next, John Cho joins us.
Yeah, I can't help but feel that time just isn't real. I only know the space inside this room. License to appeal, they talking of your deal. I'm stoking up the fire that I once knew. So if you see me, you know that I've been on my road. I've been on my road with you. And if you need me, I saw you have to play the mode that starts with letting go with you. Ooh, yeah, I can't help but feel my groove. I can't help but feel. Oh.
You're listening to Surfaces. The song is I Can't Help But Feel. Can't help but feel a surface. Surfaces. Well, today's show is also brought to you by the Lumo Project. Lumo is a stunning visual Bible project that'll help you see the gospel in a compelling new light. It is a gorgeously and cinematically shot gospel movie experience. It's not dramatized. It's straight scripture. That's all you're going to get. But seeing the stories come to life is really powerful. You get to experience Jesus's teachings and story in a completely new way with Lumo. Go check out some of their free scripture videos by searching the Lumo Project at YouTube, or for other free resources, including small group studies and more. Check out lumoproject.com. That's LUMO project.com. We might have had a hand in helping them develop their small group studies. Go check it out. It's free. Today's guest is John Cho. He's an actor you know from movies like Star Trek, Columbus, and Searching. His new film is called Don't Make Me Go, and it explores a father's journey to connect with his daughter while battling a terminal illness. John was joined in this conversation you're about to hear by the movie's writer, Vera Herbert, to discuss the impact of fatherhood, cultivating a tender story in turbulent times, and why Don't Make Me Go isn't quite like any other film you'll see this year. Here's our conversation with John Cho and Vera Herbert.
Let's go somewhere. We've never taken a real road trip together.
No way. It's the rest of summer.
We're going.
I will be miserable the entire time.
I will teach you to drive on the way. If you have a good attitude for real, I'll let you get behind the wheel.
If you promise to never do that again, ever.
I will never, ever do it again.
Get out!
All right, good.
Thanks for taking time to talk to me. I appreciate it. And congratulations on what I thought was a really, really wonderful movie. I wasn't sure what to expect. I'm a sucker for any father-done, father-daughter stuff. So this hit me right there. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My first question is for you, Vera. I'm curious about I know that stories like this can take a long time to develop, and they can go through a lot of different iterations and ideas of what it's actually going to look like. And I'm just curious about sort of the journey that this story had from the first draft or the rough draft all the way to what we finally have now in this movie.
Honestly, it didn't change that much from early on when it became. I sort of internally did several drafts before I ever started sending it out to anyone. And then the version that I sent out is sort of really mainly what was on screen, other than beefing up the characters a little and doing that kind of stuff. But their overall journey and sort of the plot and everything always stayed the same from the inception to now.
John, do you remember where you were when you first heard about the project, when you first read the story, and what your initial feelings were, or what initially drew you to it?
It was an email, came through the traditional channels through my agent, and
I remember finishing it going, this is a movie I would like to see, and it's a movie that I want to participate in, and it's also a story on a bigger scale. I was thinking it's a kind of film that I used to see more of and that I really used to like, and that there are fewer and further between today. And then I met Hannah, and the whole combination was very attractive, and I said, if I can be a part of, putting this thing on its feet, it would be really great.
When you say this is a kind of movie there used to be more of, what exactly do you mean by that? What sort of movie is this?
I think it's smaller in scope. It's a personal story. This kind of story now, I think would be more apt to be maybe a limited run television show, but I see less of this kind of story in feature form, and I love features and love in a single sitting, going through the whole story. So it was everything I like in a feature.
When you're putting together a story like this, which obviously has a lot of which these subjects are very personal to a lot of people, and a lot of people have very different experiences with things like terminal illness, with their parents, with death, with growing up maybe in a single parent household. What are some of the complications that arise with something like that when you're telling these kinds of stories in an attempt to be sensitive to the different experiences viewers will bring in with these things, but while still telling a story that's very unique and the sort of story that you want to tell?
I think for me, it was personal to me as I was writing it, sort of inspired by my relationship with my dad, even though it was very different and not, I wasn't raised by a single dad. He didn't die of cancer, but he died when I was young. So that for me was just sort of the guiding sort of force as I was writing it, just trying to capture a relationship that felt truthful to me. And I sort of couldn't worry about, is it going to speak to everyone? All I can think about is like, this speaks to me, and hopefully other people are able to find things within that are relatable to them.
John, as you are putting together this performance, what were some of the things that you feel like you had to do to inhabit this character? I don't know if you did. I don't know if you got super method about it. Like if you tried to, I would imagine not. But what does preparation look like for something like this?
As I look back on it, I think the thing that I was concerned about, and that probably was a kind of preparation for the role, was making sure that the set and my relationship with Mia was going to be an appropriate one. And I wanted the experience to be really good for her. And so I find myself thinking about Mia more than I would another co-star in a film. And I knew it was her first feature. So I was very intent on being there for her on and off screen. And I think that was me getting into the parental mode. And so I for the duration of the shoot, really, I was just focused on the experience being something that she could look back to and refer to as the right kind of way to work.
Wally, what are you doing up there?
I tried to text you, but my phone died.
Your phone died? That's it?
I didn't mean to scare you, I swear.
Come down here right now. Not you. You stay up there.
There's one option, but the operation is risky.
So when are you having the surgery?
I don't know. How do I tell my daughter? I'm kind of it for her.
So how are you?
And by the way, I think it can be very difficult, obviously, to communicate an authentic, lived-in feeling family bond on screen. And I noted that, and in your performance and in hers as well. Obviously, she was very good, and it was very believable. And I thought it was really, really the film really needed it, and you delivered on it.
We got on like gangbusters right off the bat, and she felt like my daughter, and I've now met her dad, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we.
That's weird.
We feel close. I don't know. So
yeah,
it was easy.
Yeah, that's cool. The resonance of something like this right now in 2022, obviously kind of a difficult time for a lot of Americans, a lot of complicated feelings. What do you think makes this movie kind of stand out, or insofar as this movie has a message, what makes it unique and timely to the era that it's landing in?
I think for me, it's a movie about a tragedy that, you learn to go on from, you learn to carry on and keep going and keep living. And I do think that's a little bit of what we've all been living through the last 2 years, is like collective trauma of the pandemic and everything else that's going on in the world. And people are finding ways to still carry on, to still find joy, to still sort of keep their lives going. And I think that is hopefully something that that is something that resonates with people from this film.
Yeah, I'll echo that. I mean, we shot this film during the pandemic and during, the kind of the earlier part of the pandemic, and when we were couldn't see friends and loved ones easily, and that was a dangerous thing to hug people and touch our loved ones. So it's a reminder that those relationships are the most important thing in life, and that's, for me, that's the if there's a message, that's the message of the film. It's keep what's important and keep what's unimportant, and that certainly has been the lesson of the last few years for me.
Having done this, having now seen this movie go from, a script, or in your case, an idea in your head, to its finished product, what are you hoping, like if you could pick, and you can't always pick, but if you could pick what people walk away from this movie thinking about when the credits roll, the feeling that's in their heart, that's on their minds, what would you want that to be?
I would say I would want them to walk away with a sense of hope that no matter what happens in your life, there is always a way to continue and to carry on and to carry the love of the people in your life with you, whether you're with them or not. I think that for me is a really important lesson that the film teaches.
Is this what a midlife crisis is?
No. Yes.
I'd bet on you. I want you for my whole life.
You have a fire inside you, Wally. Life is gonna pull some moves to try and put it out.
That was John Cho. Make sure to check out Don't Make Me Go. It is in theaters July 15th.
Something I know you'd be. Dandelion flying in the street. The wind will take you somewhere you belong. Was I the only one?
You're listening to Anna of the North. The song is Dandelion. Okay, it's time for your feedback. Last week, we asked you for your most memorable date. I don't remember why.
We were talking about that great morning radio show where they talk about dates gone bad.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Because we were recording at some ungodly hour.
and they were asking, and they put you on the air to try to get a second date. Yeah. That's right. Okay, so we want to know your most memorable date. You know what? Not a lot of you wanted to open up about this. We got a few though. You hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast. Here's a couple of our favorites.
Well, Kendall said she went on a date with a guy she met on Bumble, which I feel like, maybe I can't speak for everyone, but I feel like I'm probably right that we all dodged a bullet by
thank you, Jesus.
by finding our significant others before the era of online dating, because I feel like part of the reason this question we didn't get a ton of answers is because in online dating, like where a lot of people, that's the common way, especially post pandemic, to meet people. Everyone's like, why am I going to put this out there? Because I feel like the default often is just bad dates. Like you're just expecting it to go bad. But Kendall was nice enough to open up. She said she went on a coffee date with a guy she met on Bumble, super loud talker, stood up and stretched in the middle of the coffee shop, gave me multiple high fives and compared shoe sizes. First off, that sounds like the date's going great. That sounds like the date. You can see that the man is limber. because he's stretching multiple times. He's boisterous, which is never a bad thing.
Who is she dating?
Last time I checked, everyone loves high fives. So, Kendall, this one might be on you. I think he's probably saying, "Man, I had a really bad date. I was giving multiple high fives and nothing in return.
I even
what
shared
else
my
can I
shoe
do
size.
here?" Yeah, and I showed her. I stretched out, made sure I wasn't going to get any cramps in
I
the
just
date.
want
I
to
don't know what
know,
she
was
wants.
the shoe size prompted, or was it like we're having a conversation about sports or something? I'm like, well, hey, I'm a size 13. What about you? Like how do you
so weird.
How do you get there? Like, I need to know.
I think you share your
how
shoe
do you
size on a
arrive?
first date because you either have like abnormally large feet or abnormally small feet.
Yeah.
How are the, I'm like,
Which one's
how
which?
Does it come
Does
up?
she have massive feet and he wanted to see if it was bigger than his, or does he have little tiny girl feet and she was?
Maybe he's just, guys, I think, look, maybe he's already thinking like, look, I'm 3 high fives in. This is obviously going somewhere, and I'm a big present person, and I would like to give her a pair of shoes. Maybe he's being thoughtful.
Okay.
Or maybe he's a sneakerhead. She's wearing some dope J's, and he was like, "Hey, can I borrow those? Let me see what size you are." That kind of a thing. Maybe he was just trying to.
Or maybe he has a weird foot fetish and he only likes size 7.
Yikes!
I don't know.
You went there. Yikes!
Either way, date seems to be
Kendall,
going great in my opinion.
Sorry, Kendall.
Sorry, Kendall.
ERB Rose. She says this dude took me on a surprise date to a gun range without checking to see if I'm okay with guns. I'm not. To be honest, though, it was a pretty quick way to figure out if it'd work out or not. So that's true. Just shoot your shot, literally, and see if it'll work out. Just see if it'll work out.
He was telling you he was shooting his shot.
You know,
he was being poetic. You didn't even catch it.
That is a bold first date for a dude
That's a
to
bold
pick.
move.
That is very bold.
Very great.
But
I
I
showed up with a
appreciate.
MAGA hat.
I appreciate him saying, "This is who I am. This is the life I want to live. Do you want to be part of it?" She could say, "No, thank you," right away. Good for him.
Both of these seem like honest people. Like at least look, if you're getting in a relationship with a chronic high fiver, it's good to know from the outset. You don't want to find that out. Here's an example. If that gentleman were to suppress his urge to give copious amounts of high fives in
Until
all
the wedding
social
reception.
settings, or until he
Or the
meets your
wedding
family.
night.
Or what about even
great job?
what about the time you meet your family for the
Jamie
first
is
time?
in rare form.
Oh my gosh, Italy changed her.
Not what you're looking for.
She's not religious anymore.
She still got some wine in her.
Oh, gosh.
Oh man! All right. Well, there's more where that came from. Go check it out, and you can add yours as well. Okay, it's time for this week's
Editorial question of the week.
All right. Well, earlier in the show, we got talking about travel, international travel, missing international travel. And Jamie brought up the question about the socks in the plane, the disgusting habit that many of us used to have of walking to the bathroom in our socks. And it got us thinking, we want to know the craziest thing, grossest thing, craziest thing you've seen on your travels, whether it be on an airplane, an airport. We've all seen stuff. We've all experienced stuff. Hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast and tell us the craziest story of what you've seen during your travels. There you
I
go.
still can't believe people walk to the bathroom in their socks.
It's very comfortable.
It's very what?
Comfortable. You don't want to have
talking
to.
about socks on a plane though?
Yeah, it's gross.
Oh, it's great.
On a plane, bro. Like, it still don't make sense to me. Like, I could see accidentally stepping in your own
Somebody else's.
like accidentally stepping in. Public bathrooms are where the Walking Dead virus started. It had to start in a public bathroom, and you walking in that mug with white socks. That's the problem. Y'all don't have white socks on. I bet you wouldn't walk to the public bathroom if you had some white socks on. Bro. I guarantee you.
That's true.
I don't wear socks anywhere but my own home. That's just a general rule. There's no good place to wear them except for your own home.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Well, hit us up. Well, before we wrap up, I want to remind you of a couple of housekeeping notes. Big news is our summer digital issue is out now. You can go read the issue for free, thanks to World Vision. They're the presenting sponsors of it. Just go to relevantmagazine.com, click on magazine, and there's everything. If you want to have a beautifully designed print-like experience meant for tablets or your desktop, ad-free, our enhanced edition is available as part of Relevant Plus. Plus subscribers not only get the enhanced digital magazine ad-free, but you get unlimited access to all the articles at relevantmagazine.com ad-free. You get this podcast early released and ad-free, and you get another exclusive subscriber podcast each week as well. There's a lot more in the pipeline. Go check out Relevant Plus. It's only $250. Its plans start as low as $250 a month, and you can sign up right there by clicking the Relevant Plus tab at relevantmagazine.com. There's lots of stuff to do and see there at the website now. Also, if you haven't checked out our store in a while, head over to see some of the new podcast merch and other merch that we've been adding, relevantstore.com, and make sure to make relevantmagazine.com part of your daily web browsing. We've got new stuff being published every day at the intersection of faith, life, and culture. Okay, on that note, we'll wrap things up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Jamie Ivey.
I'm Derek Miner.
We will see you next time. Have a good week, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
I'm excited to come to you on your local NPR station from the latest podcast from heaven.
Relevant Podcast Network.